This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
April 14th, 1973 might have been just another Saturday night in New Orleans. Noisy Bourbon Street nightclubs hawked drinks and dreams to a wide-eyed tourist. 3 blocks away on Rampart, thousands filled Municipal Auditorium for a concert billed by the Jazz and Heritage Festival as a night of stars. Forgetting for a time about the monster flood descending the Mississippi River, lucky ticket holders escaped into the music of Stevie Wonder, the Olympia Brass Band, and the Ramsey Lewis Trio. At the time, few in New Orleans had heard of the place called Old River, a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers flood control installation some 214 miles upriver. If they had heard of it, they would scarcely have believed the possible consequences of the drama unfolding there that evening. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Mississippi River above Baton Rouge was seeking a new channel to the Gulf of Mexico. The Crescent City was in peril. Up at Old River that night, Corps of Engineers personnel stood watch at 2 adjacent flood control structures, gated weirs with deceptively unpretentious names, Low Sill and Overbank. The Low Sill spans a 566-foot wide intake channel from the Mississippi River that feeds into the Atchafalaya River, just 7 miles away to the west. The Overbank structure sits alongside the Low Sill. As its name implies, the Overbank weir controls floodwaters that overtop the riverbank on the upstream side of the Low Sill. The men working on the Low Sill control structure could feel the casemate shudder as more than 3 million gallons of the Mississippi floodwaters rush through its gates every second. Engineers designed the Low Sill to allow a portion of the Mississippi River to divert into the Atchafalaya Basin while keeping the river's main flow in its historic channel. Only this time, the magnitude of the flood threatened to overpower the engineers' best efforts to bridle nature with concrete and steel. In nature's favor is the perilous difference in elevation between the 2 adjacent rivers. At normal river levels, the Mississippi's surface runs about 16 feet higher than the surface of the Atchafalaya River. During floods, that difference could increase to over 30 feet. Gravity heaved the big river toward the low ground and a much steeper and shorter path to the Gulf of Mexico. The sea is only about 150 miles from Old River via the Atchafalaya Basin, as opposed to the approximately 300-mile route past New Orleans. The situation became critical when the Low Sill's south wing wall, a curved arm extending out into the inflow channel, collapsed under the strain, and where it had stood, the river was rapidly scouring a tunnel through the sediment beneath the structure. Engineers were already aware of a pre-existing second scour hole, this one the size of a football field on the outflow side of the Low Sill. If the 2 holes had joined beneath the structure, the Low Sill would have toppled and the Mississippi River, obeying the inexorable pull of gravity, would have forsaken New Orleans and Baton Rouge to plunge to the Gulf through the Atchafalaya Basin. Since the city's founding by the French in 1718, the residents of New Orleans have lived with the danger of inundation. However, the possibility of an upriver channel shift threatens something far more menacing than overtop levees. If the Mississippi River diverts most or all of its flow into the Atchafalaya Basin, the consequences for New Orleans would be catastrophic. Without the river's constant current to hold back the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, New Orleans would become mired in a vast saltwater marsh stretching as far north as Baton Rouge. To the west in the Atchafalaya Basin, the coming of the Mississippi River would be equally disastrous for towns, farms, highways, railways, oil and gas pipelines, and barge canals. At the southern end of the Atchafalaya River, Morgan City would bear the brunt of the deluge. Thanks to a slice of good luck that April night, the Low Sill remained functional, though severely damaged, and Mississippi River residents below Old River awoke to enjoy their Palm Sunday, unaware of the previous night's crisis.